For Republicans, it is a red alert. Donald Trump's disapproval rating hitting an all-time high, now at 60%, with an approval rating matching his low of 36%. It comes just 2 months before the midterms, and Republicans are now reportedly bracing for a blue wave in in November. Quote, preparing for pain. They're also warning the Trump White House is wholly unprepared for a Democratic takeover of the House with a thin legal team after a brain drain from firings and departures. And that relates to the other bad polling news for President Trump. 49% saying Congress should begin impeachment proceedings that could lead to Trump being removed from office. In the face of all of this, the Trump campaign seems to be to motivate the base.
Today's Democrat Party is held hostage by left-wing haters, angry mobs, deep state radicals, establishment cronies, and their fake news allies. We, as a country, cannot tolerate political censorship, blacklisting, and rigged search results. And our FBI have to start doing their job. What's happening is a disgrace. The elite, they're the elite. I'm president, and they're not.
All right, joining me now, former Vermont governor and DNC chair Howard Dean, and back with us once again, Bill Kristol. Great to have you both with us. Howard, let me begin with you, if I may. I know you've seen a lot of campaigns in your lifetime. Your thoughts heading into the midterms with Trump's disapproval so high. How or what are you reading right now in terms of the tea leaves?
I think the key is the Senate. The only people that can get rid of Donald Trump are the Republicans. Even if they're in a minority in the House and the Senate, we still have to have 2/3 of votes, and we're not going to get 2/3 of the Senate no matter what happens in the election in the fall. So the Republicans have to panic. As the Republicans did during Watergate, the leadership has to realize that Trump is going to wreck the whole party, which he is in the middle of doing. And they've got to cut the legs out from under them. And that's probably not going to happen unless they lose the House and the Senate. And I think there's a reasonable possibility that they will lose the House and the Senate.
So do you think, Howard, it's a smart move on Democrats' part to run on impeachment?
No. I'm with, let's be judicious about this and follow the facts. Mueller has the facts. And those facts are going to come out one way or the other, whether he gets fired or not. And then we'll have I don't really believe that impeachment should be political. It is always political, but I don't believe it should be. It's a process, and I think we ought to respect the process. I think there is evidence, and somebody knows what it is, and I think Trump is unfit to serve. But I think that has to be proved if he's going to be removed from office.
So what should be the message from Democrats to get the vote out?
Donald Trump will supply the message to get the vote out. I think Democrats ought to stay positive. Nobody needs to criticize Donald Trump. Donald Trump has done a great job every day of reminding everybody in the country that he's completely unfit to serve. What we need to do is have a strong platform, and I like very much where we are. We're having individuals write their own platforms for their districts, and we're going to elect individuals who are going to represent their districts, whether they're moderate districts or whether they're liberal districts. That's the way we can get the party back in power.
Bill, how are Republicans reacting to the latest polling? Should they be at all concerned by what they're seeing and what may come in November?
Well, they're obviously concerned, but they're not panicking yet. I might wish they would and sever themselves from Trump, but that's not happening yet. And I think here's what the Trump White House is thinking. We get Kavanaugh hearings and then probably most likely a Kavanaugh confirmation in September. The country's kind of evenly split on that, but certainly for Republicans, this is one of the reasons they stuck with Trump, including people who don't like Trump very much. They maybe get a little fight on the government shutdown on September 30th when they have to reauthorize, when the federal fiscal year ends. Maybe there's a little fight on the border wall or some issues that help Trump a little bit. He demagogues on the NFL and all those things he likes to do. And this is the absolute key for Trump, he holds the Senate. They really are desperate to hold the Senate because then the Democrats win the House, most likely. But if Republicans hold the Senate, conceivably pick up a seat or two, lose a couple of governorships. But it's sort of a mixed message. You can't really say, gee, this was a resounding defeat for Trump. After all, in 2006, but Bush lost both houses of Congress. In 2014, Obama lost first the House in 2010, then the Senate in 2014. So where is Trump going for these rallies? To seats where he could red state seats, red states with Democratic senators who could be vulnerable if it becomes a referendum on Trump. States Trump won big in 2016. I don't know if it's going to work. I think the voters might decide they want more of a check on Trump. They certainly will in the House. Certainly, they likely will in the House. They may in the Senate. But Trump, I don't know if he survives the election, if he does pretty well in the Senate, I think he then moves against Sessions, maybe against Rosenstein and Mueller, pardons, who knows what happens. Then we're in a whole different world of real craziness in November, December, January. But I think it's likely to be a bad election for Republicans, but I think there's a lot of work to be done still. And I think some of these Senate races are key. If Beto O'Rourke were to win in Texas or something like that, that would be dramatic, and that would help Democrats a lot.
Governor Dean, excuse me, do you think this White House is wholly unprepared to confront possible Democratic takeover of the House and the subpoena power that the House will have and the investigations that would be launched if, in fact, the Democrats do take control of the House?
I think they're pretty much wholly unprepared to do anything. Trump is a guy who just thinks in the moment. He has no plan. I actually thought the other day when he was making all this really crazy tweets that he might be getting psychotic. So I don't think there's any long-term planning. I think the staff probably tries to engage in long-term planning, but then you've got sort of these neo-Nazi types like Stephen Miller running around. He has an agenda. That is not the agenda of America, but it sucks Trump in every time. So there's an incredibly short-sighted group of people, and the ones who are do have a long-term vision, can't get anything done because Trump is unmanageable.
But think about this. I mean, I think the strongest argument for Democrats winning the House, I think, is that they could investigate, oversee, have a subpoena power. On the other hand, is the White House going to obey Democratic House subpoenas? I mean, let's not assume that this White House is going to play by the rules that the Obama and Bush White Houses played by. This is where I think we could end up with a constitutional crisis pretty soon in the new year.
Right. Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.